how did you avoid kind of like getting into trouble? Did your dad create a path where he's like, look, you're not going to get into any trouble. Like, I'm kind of doing my thing, but like that's to give you a better life. So you don't have to.
Uh, no, with me, he never hid nothing from me or showed me that he didn't want me not doing things. He just did what he did, and when he did it, he made sure I understood right from wrong. And growing up, I didn't have my brothers or my brother or nothing. I was around all girls, so I was pretty protective and quiet because they was always coming like, I'm gonna get my brother on you, and I'm fighting hella fights that I shouldn't be fighting just because my sisters was crazy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was not too loud or outgoing, but popular because of my sisters and having to defend them and people seeing my skills and abilities that way. But I wasn't a people person.
Not much of a people person. So you stay to yourself and like your family, it sounds like.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't really get approached because I mean that happens, right? If you're growing up around the Bloods and the Crips and you're from that neighborhood, they probably want you to join or something like that.
Oh yeah. Like,
Yeah.
but them knowing who my situation and stuff, like it be situations where I'd be hanging out with somebody for the day, not knowing that they did something yesterday, rob somebody from the other side, and they come and get the dude that robbed somebody on their side, and I'd be standing there hanging with them, and they be like, leave him out of this. And so they running through the dude's house that I'm kicking it with for that day with guns looking for him because he robbed somebody a couple of days ago trying to kill him. And I'm sitting there in the house knowing, and everybody knowing that I'm not to be touched, but I'm fucking like, you never know, being around this crazy.
Yeah, that basically sounds like fucking I think Gilly, right?
Who?
Gilly. He's like a rapper.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
And his son passed away, right? Like his son got like murdered.
Yeah, yeah,
And
they
that's
try.
exactly what you're explaining. Like he wasn't involved in the life, but he was hanging out around people from that area. And a rival gang from the other neighborhood came by and shot up the block, and he ended up getting shot and killed.
Yeah, like I've been around so much of that. Like it's a miracle that I'm got to where I've gotten to.
Hmm. Are you able to kind of like you're good now, or are you still living in like a rough area in Dallas and
No,
stuff?
I stay away. Like I went and made my money. I bought a home. I own a home in a nice ass area. Golf course, all that. But still got to get the rest of them out.
Yeah. Okay, since we're on this topic, and then I want to move on to like your wrestling accomplishments so everyone can kind of know like about your skills too. But there's a Crip. I don't know if you've seen any videos, but you know that guy 4 Extras from No Jumper?
I don't.
You don't.
Uh-uh.
Okay, so there's this Crip from LA, and he gets locked up like every other month. Like he spent a lot of time in jail just for like petty stuff, right? Like probation violations and shit like that.
Yeah.
But he's a big dude. He's like probably 240.
Yeah.
And he's claiming like he's ran like 20 fades in jail and shit like that because he's a Crip, right? So if anybody's a blood or something, they have to get down right there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying he's got like 20 fights in jail and shit in a day. He's got more than that.
Hmm.
But anyway, he went on No Jumper, and Adam 22 was saying like, hey, like I know you're tough, right? But you're not as tough as a UFC fighter, right? Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine what these UFC fighters are going through. And he's like, dude, they're not as tough as me, right? And
Yeah.
this is escalated because everyone's posting it, and he's basically saying like he could knock out a UFC fighter,
I did end up
and
seeing.
him and SD Dumas. You know SD Dumas?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're trying to like set up a fight, but 4X is locked up right now.
Hmm. That'd be crazy.
So I mean, what do you think? Because he's a big ass dude, right? And he fights in the streets.
Yeah.
But,
I,
that's like Kimbo Slice shit.
Yeah, but if you fucking put Kimbo Slice and me in a room, like it's a whole put me and Kimbo Slice in a room and say whoever comes out get $1 million, this mansion, this luxury life of whatever the fuck you want. I'm coming out of that room within the 10 minutes. He ain't lasting 10 minutes. Skills that I got with the wrestling, the striking, and then that dog. Like that's the combo that a lot of these UFC fighters they went and put in the work. They got the skills. They built their body up to be the robot of I'm a professional UFC fighter. But a lot of these dudes, bro, they pussies. They ain't got that dog in them. Like if he was chilling at a fucking function and I walked up to him and took their fucking sandwich off their plate, they wouldn't do shit. You know, these dudes and this whole welterweight division, I'm gonna smash these dudes. Like I've trained with the best, and I already know where I sit. It's just the fact of these dudes ain't letting me fight as often as I want to fight.
Yeah. Okay, so it's only been 2 months, right? You said you were gonna fight, like, a week after your last fight in January.
Yeah, I want to. I've
Yeah.
been like, I want to go.
But, what's the deal? They're looking for a better opponent for you or something?
Everybody booked, or you know, whatever the negotiation standings, however they getting me out there. I don't think people want to fight me.
Okay. Well, we'll make some noise with this one then for sure.
Oh yeah,
But
oh yeah,
okay, let me ask you this one though. You said a lot of the guys, right? They're not gonna do much if you take like a sandwich off their plate, so to speak, right?
yeah,
That's what I think makes four extras kind of dangerous. It's
yeah.
like a factor, right? If you do fight a UFC fighter, they're more skilled, they got the cardio, but like right then and there, like in a street fight, what do you think happens? Like, is it closer than people give four extras?
So you saying in a situation of if me and 4X something happened like that?
I get okay, I guess because 'cause you're different. You're like the anomaly, right? Because most of the guys don't really have that, like, street background in the UFC, oddly enough. So, with, like, a guy who doesn't have that street background versus 4 extras, how do they go?
So I can play you this.
Okay.
Before I started hanging out with Nick Piccinini, you know him?
Yeah,
He,
wrestler.
yeah. Before I started hanging out with him every day and living with him, and we went out and had dinner, and some dudes was there. They had a lot of money. You could tell they was just some balling ass dudes in California when we lived there. But we was there training. We literally lived in a shack. We didn't have no money. We was training. We was out one night having dinner, and these dudes walked up to us. We had some pretty girls with us, and you could tell they had a lot of money and they wanted those girls. But they came over disrespectful, putting hella bottles on our table and doing all this, sitting there looking at them. And then my buddy Nick stands up to shake his hand, like this is cool, not understanding what's going on, you know. And I stand up, I grab the bottle and pick it up off my table and I put it back into his chest. And I'm like, "What's up? How you boys doing tonight?" And he was like, "Are we doing good? Something, something." And that's all he said to me. And then he started talking to the girls. And I immediately knew before we even had that altercation what these dudes was over here. They was over there trying to flex.
Yeah, trying to
But
mark you guys out real
but
quick.
but my boy, he didn't understand because he ain't from that. But he a fighter, a professional, and if he get down with them dudes right then and there, he whoop them. But he don't understand what they trying to do to them, or the disrespect that's being there. He just think the people. He from the East Coast. He New York. Everybody, people. Like to be around. He just used to that kind of stuff. Oklahoma, this Midwest, that's disrespectful. You don't come. I walk up to you and your lady having dinner, and I set a bottle down and say, and you mentioned to me, "What's up? Like, who are you or whatever?" And the first thing you say is, "What's up?" to a girl that's there with me.
Yeah, hell
Like,
no.
like stuff like that. Like I'm already 10 steps ahead of that, planning on my reattack. He thinking, all right, we making friends, and as he thinking we making friends in between that altercation, at the end of it, he understand, oh, this dude ain't trying to be my friend. Now I gotta get into a whole. Whereas I'm already, it's automatic for me,
Right.
and that's the only difference. But ain't nobody in the pen ain't gonna beat up nobody. You can go get Mighty Mouse little ass. You can lock Mighty Mouse in a room with that big ass 240 dude you talking about.
Yeah, 4 extras.
Mighty Mouse gonna come out hurt just because of the 150-pound weight difference. But I promise you, Mighty Mouse gonna have more respect, and Mighty Mouse gonna put that dude to sleep or break a limb, or he gonna be the big dog coming out of that room if it was a bet, like who coming out to get this money every time. So even putting a 240 versus a 240, that's stupid.
Right.
Like
I
we
get what you're
do that,
saying. You're kinda saying too,
but
like go ahead, go ahead.
it's just mm, like a lot of people can do shit, show up and do shit. Like I'm an athlete where I can go play basketball, I can go do this, or I can do this just because I'm an athlete. There's people that do shit every day to where they can't fuck up just because they do it every day. This is their profession. And no matter how good or how hard you try to catch up, they've done this their whole life. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time before they start stretching the gap on you if you decide to enter into that altercation with them.
Yeah, I hear you. I think too, though, what I think that what he really should be saying is he has potential because he's been having these fights in jail and stuff like that.
Yes.
You can take that and build something with it. But
Yes.
you can't say I've been fighting in jail and think you could take a fully trained UFC fighter who's actually getting coached because you're fighting in jail, but there's not too much thought that goes behind it. It's right on site and you're not
Yeah.
going back game planning and shit because you don't know who you're going to fight, the next hour.
Bro, that shit usually only lasts 2 minutes max.
Right, right.
Like 30 seconds, and you like talking about it, and it seemed like an hour, but you like, oh shit, bro, that was 30 seconds, bro. We do this hours on
How else
end,
are you going to get 20 fades in a day?
you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, it's interesting though. A lot of people are kind of like thinking he's gonna get knocked out if he ends
Mm.
up fighting SD, but he told SD he's gonna knock him out. So I guess like, do you think he has any chance or
Oh,
no?
yeah.
Puncher's
If,
chance.
yes, yes. Go in there fighting like you fight. Like, don't go in there thinking you a fighter trying to fight the whole fight. Go in there, try to knock his ass out in 20, 30 seconds. Worst case, it end up being 1 minute and you knock him out. But if he survived that minute, you fucked.